Greetings
Greetings.
and welcome to the Out of Noise podcast. I'm your host Stella B and this is
Nat Nai.
The Lyrical Alchemist. We are going to be bringing you a lot of knowledge, lots of insight to our lives and to many others that we interview upon this couch as we bring our piece to the mic. So today's subject on our very first podcast is about...
In response to Stormzy's Mel Made Me Do It, that video that has got a lot of us talking, a lot of us hyped, a lot of us proud, a lot of us happy to be Black British.
Yes, so Stormzy's video, we all seen it, I'm sure, is excellent. It's excellent, and it is quote unquote Black excellence. For me, my favourite part was the ending with Michaela's voice coming through, the omnipotent voice of Michaela Cole coming through with the poetry, which we later on discovered was actually written by Wretch32. I loved that whole section in terms of her delivery, the words, and the cameos. The cameos were great, we've got to say. For ages now, you've been talking about the lack of representation of British artists,
Black British
artists, Black British artists.
Because the other ones, they're very well represented. Britain hasn't got a problem with getting their artists internationally or globally known. If we start counting them, we won't stop. But when it comes to Black British, there's a difference. Right,
okay, so there's a distinct difference, isn't there? Like, okay, name all of the British singers and artists that you can right now. Just give yourself that test. Who are the equivalent of a Beyonce or a huge global superstar right now, like proper. And it's not for lack of talent. Trust me, we can list the talent. We've got Cynthia Erivo, who's extremely phenomenal.
Most people can be like, who's that?
Which is what we're talking about. Basically, it's a different. The disparity is unbelievable, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, you've got Shingy, you've got Lauren Vula,
yeah,
you've got so many, Leanna
Havas, that it's just countless talent, amount of talent that is in the British shores in terms of artistry, innovation. Labyrinth, sorry, again, huge star, but it just doesn't equate to what he should be in terms of that talent, that level of skill in what they do.
There's a huge disparity basically between a Labyrinth and an Ed Sheeran.
They're
not comparable.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Comparable.
They're not comparable. And why is that? Why is it that it's such a big deal to have Ed Sheeran on a track with Big Nasty or Ed Sheeran on a track with Stormzy? It's like Wiley was saying it, isn't it, a while ago, that Stormzy, you're endorsing Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's star is like completely, galactic compared to Stormzy's star. And Stormzy is huge right now. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's only for a short time. Ed Sheeran's going to have that longevity.
He has had,
and he's going to continue to have.
Yeah.
But Black British is just a different story. So that issue is definitely there. So, this is why we really, as a Black community, we really do celebrate these moments that we have on that we had the other day. Like, the launch of this video, it was like a moment. It was an epic moment. That's how I describe it.
Yeah, and Stormzy, when it comes to Black British artists, Stormzy is, I think most people would accept number one.
He's currently
he's number one, and but I wouldn't say he's a global superstar, and that's like what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like he's number one in this country, and I'm sure he's got reach elsewhere, but global superstar.
No, it's on the scale of
he's not
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, it's not comparable.
It's not comparable, and that's deliberate. That's deliberate by the industry and the mechanisms that keep people where they're, you know, where they're going to be popular or not. It's deliberate. So
deciding who's marketable or who's not, who's got global appeal and who doesn't. But anyway, yeah. So that was a real epic moment.
So my lights has gone off. Yeah,
it's a real epic moment, and the video spoke to opulence. I guess that you're hard pressed to think about that you've seen from a Black British artist. Period. I can't think of a video anyway that has shown that level of opulence from a Black British artist.
I mean, no. I mean, and the thing is, I was discussing it with Nat, and I was saying it was like on. So we were talking about why it's being so celebrated, and obviously it's to do with the opulent nature of it. Okay, so we're seeing blackness and richness, essentially, like opulence, greatness, you know, things I have, commodities, you know, wealth, physical wealth, material wealth. That's what's being celebrated in that video. Here
stunning.
Stunning, man. And I was saying to that I could compare it to the Black is King moment with a video by Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Mood Forever.
Mood Forever. Yeah, Mood Forever. That video is a similar thing where there's a white butler who's like brushing Beyonce's teeth, and you know the extreme vulgarity of the wealth is what is the point of the video. It's like, we can do this. We've done this before historically, and we can do this. We are great in that sense.
Actually, you know what? Dizzy Rascal's video.
Which one? Dizzy Rascal is a global superstar. But yeah, go on.
Dizzy Rascal's video. What was it? I Need a Moment or something like that, or I got what is it called? I'm not fine.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, but it's kind of like period. It's taken us back to.
Oh yeah, and so he's got several. Then he's actually got several of those kind of moments. Then, because he's got that one where it's like a period drama.
I don't need a reason.
I don't need a reason. Yeah, I don't need a reason.
Yeah, I don't need a reason. That shows opulence, you know.
It does, and I'm sure there's others.
Under the radar. Wow, 9 years ago.
9 years ago. I'm sure there's others, to be fair, like if we really break it down. But in terms of what
that level
Stormzy's done, it's a moment.
Yeah, it's another level.
But there's issues, okay? There's issues, and this is not from a point of view.
But before you say issues, I do want to back you on what you were saying about the poem written by Wretch.
Yes.
And Michaela Cole, his delivery. That was a real highlight of the whole song. Actually, it was the pinnacle. And as you were saying, seeing the cameos of certain, I guess, iconic Black British figures from entertainment across the board, from music to sport, and it was good to see. And the lyrics in that, the poem, and it was beautifully crafted and empowering, I think it's fair to say.
It's very, I love cameo. Everyone loves a good cameo. It's like, oh, that's Jazzy B, oh my gosh, that's Gabrielle looking, oh my god, they look amazing.
Yeah.
And Tiana Major. Like, that was good. Those moments, yes, those moments really rocked. Like, they rocked. I love a good cameo. I love the fact that these Black British people were being represented. You know, you had Little Sims in there. Like, you know, yes.
Yeah, Dave. Like, it was good. It was good to see. And Usain Bolt earlier on as well.
Yeah.
Cameos.
And then obviously, Jose Mourinho, for all the football heads out there not saying anything yet. All of that was great hype beforehand, and that did pull everyone in. So
from Was,
yeah.
Louis Theroux, ZZ, he smacked it with the cameos.
The cameos were great, and you know what? It's fun, and it's not been done really in that way before. In terms of Americans do that shit all the time. You know, they do that. They do those kind of moments where features. It became boring for them, you know, like they just do.
Yeah, it's normal.
It's normal. So for us, it's like, oh shit. And the funny thing is, just as a busting a joke here, is like now you've taken everyone like Stormzy, so like
who's left?
Who's left to cameo? No, I'm joking. Like,
can I have us too?
Idris Elba maybe, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, Idris, yeah.
He was shooting his video in Sierra Leone, so he couldn't be there. But
there's a few others.
Yeah,
he took the majority.
He took the majority. He took the whole of the UK's unappreciated, underrated, amazing black excellence. So yeah, no, it was great. It really was great and should be celebrated for those reasons. And the intentions are clear, like it's intended for that. We can talk really, really briefly about Chip as well. We have to because we're hip hop fans, okay? We're people that appreciate rap. We're rap fans.
Is all
we're
forms,
poets.
grime, wherever rap comes in. We're poets, so we like words. We like bars.
Appreciate wordsmithery. Yeah, we really do, and so we've been more than privy to the
back and forth,
the battle. And so, it
wasn't a battle really. It was just Chip was
it's like an annihilation.
For 2 years, nothing happened.
For an annihilation of Stormzy.
Nothing happened.
And I'm just coming up with my conspiracy theories about, because I know battles. I know that marketing is a big part in the world of rap, and you got to sell stories and storytelling and all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, maybe Chip's in on it, and they're gonna do some bit together and all of that kind of stuff.
Dream.
That's the dream. But yeah, even that kind of, that's gonna be my answer thing. I'm not even, and then penning some things there. Like I can already see Chip is like, there's just too many moments for him to take the piss out of, like outside of the video, just the lyrics. Like Chip's just gonna have a field day. Like if he does do that, even if like some people are like, oh, he doesn't need to and he shouldn't, because like it's above that, and that's kind of like it's kind of like a clever thing of Stormzy as well, because it's like for 2 years, for that time period where he was silent, and Chip brought out, what was it, 4 videos?
Yeah, it was 3. It was 3 videos.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
But 3 videos, but then 1 in the studio as well. Is that included in 3?
I think that's included in 3.
He kept mocking the fact that, okay, you're meant to be an activist, you're meant to be Jesus follower and all this kind of stuff. And he said it so many times that it's like, yeah. And he's kind of like, yeah, I am that. And look, like this kind of proves it.
The bar when he said, why do I have to reply to him? And he's basically saying, why do I have to reply to him? Because look what I've got around me.
Yeah.
Look who I'm networked with.
Yeah, and look what
at
I'm
money
doing.
I've got. Look at I don't need to reply to you. I don't need to reply to you.
But it's like, but then you're kind of cheating, Stormzy. You're kind of cheating, because that's not really what it's about. It's about your technical ability. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's about your bars, like. And Chip's just always, he's just like, he can't run out for sure. And they're just so clever and witty, and his delivery, man,
maybe that's the real reason why Stormzy can't reply to him, or why we didn't reply to him, because boy, it's tough to reply to Chip. It's tough. Let's be real.
He couldn't.
Lyrically, it's tough.
Lose.
Lyrically, it's tough. But he's got the status, and that's what he showed. Like, and maybe we're in a time now where bars. Well, we are in a time now where bars don't matter as much as status and status by way of money and even.
Well,
Stormzy's not on social media, but also his ability to spark conversation on social media is at a all-time high when it comes to Black British.
It's true.
Artists. So but he wouldn't have been able to get away with that 10 years ago.
No, exactly.
Or a few years ago,
I think short attention spans, and then it's kind of like
change of times.
Some of the times, but I just think people, like there was big discussions on Clubhouse. You had Wiley leading
Twitter Spaces,
like those kind of discussions were happening in Clubhouse as well.
Oh.
And you had, you had just people. It worked. Literally, it did what it was supposed to do. Like, it's a hype moment. You want people to be talking about this for as many weeks as possible. I'm sure there's going to be part 2 in terms of like Chip is going to come with something. I know it. It's like, you can't waste the opportunity for money, which is it. At the end of the day, it's business, man. It's business. It's what it is. Like, we got to accept.
So you are convinced Chip's going to respond?
I think so. Like, his ego, like, it's just like, and then the hype from the man them, like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just there's so much excitement for it. I know he's got about 150 trillion bars. Like, you just know he has. That's just delicious as well. Like, you can't.
So what the debate was on Twitter was basically he's got to bring out Pep Guardiola. He's got to bring out like. Different. He's got to bring out Sir Alex Ferguson. He's got to bring out Arsene Wenger.
It's like
people are picking out managers.
It's shifted what it is. It's now more about who your friends are and who what celebrity mates you have than anything. He's got to bring out Beyonce.
Well, if he did that, then
and Jay-Z. He's got to bring out Beyonce and Jay-Z. Oh, he's got to hook up. He can bring out Chris Brown.
Yeah, if he gets Chris Brown, I don't know if it'll work the same, but if he brings out, he needs to bring out the Avengers.
Yeah,
that's what everyone's saying. So
exactly,
I don't know if it's interesting to see because of the times we're in. If Chip just comes out by himself and starts rapping and
people are just gonna
spins around Stormzy, does he make it anyway? I don't know.
Maybe in like years to come, the longevity of it, because that's what it's about, really. The quality of like talent, like in terms of that
for us.
But then I'm saying those are the things that last long. You know what I mean? Like maybe at the time it would be like, oh, you lost or whatever, and then actually what will end up happening is that shall I pause it?
Sure.
Had to stop the video, but okay, so we're back. Yeah, so Chip's gonna probably respond. I think so, and because of ego, because of like the business opportunity financially.
What do you mean financially? What
financially?
YouTube views?
Like YouTube views and just sponsorship, just interest in it. Because anything that's buzzing, that's getting the people interested, is a business opportunity. Like it's a business opportunity. Yeah. So all the cats around there, the fat cats that know this. It's like, now everyone's waiting on Chip's response, probably including management and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's to me, that's logical and, it makes sense. But it's up to him, obviously, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's used to, or we're used to from him, responding quite rapid and fast. Been a few days now. So maybe he is thinking he wants to do something epic. If he is going to do something. If he is going to do something. Because normally he's like, but... The standard of that video makes it very difficult, I guess, to come with the normal, the next day drop or the next couple day drop. Maybe he is thinking like, how am I actually gonna approach this one here?
Yeah, it's like scratching head.
Am I gonna actually? Because bars might not be enough. You might be wondering, bars yesteryear would have been enough.
Yeah, we're in a new age.
But after this video, which everyone's calling a film, I'm calling it a movie. People saying it's Hollywood.
It's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
Then, boy.
Music videos in a time where people don't have attention span. It's 10 minutes. It's got a whole section a poetry section. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
epic.
It is epic.
You know, people are calling it a masterpiece. I don't think so. Like, Stella's opinion, my opinion, jump on the mic and say this. I don't think it's a masterpiece. A masterpiece to me, to shout out another individual artist, not rapper, sorry, is Labyrinth's new video. Like, the creativity in that video is what I will call a masterpiece, because it's about taking your brain to another dimension, like really taking your brain to another dimension, opening up parts of you that you've just, wow, like you're just so in awe of this other place that you've gone to. That is what is a masterpiece artistically, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know, man. Like, that there's levels in my head, and I just think in terms of the showcase of opulence and the showcase of network, yes, that it did do that, and the poem at the end and the cameos at the end, that was pinnacle. But yeah, masterpiece, I struggle with that, man. But it doesn't mean, like, we live in a binary society as well. So, and this is before we go into what we think needed to be worked on or taken out of the video. We live in a binary society where if you don't say if you either you're on a bandwagon or something's really bad and that's it, or something's really good and that's it. There's no nuance. There's no room for nuance, and basically, there's no one on the planet that should be considered above criticism, and there should be no one on the planet bar those that commit wicked acts that should be below praise. So if we do treat any human being in that fashion, then we are in worrying times. Yeah, we are in worrying times anyway, because people do treat people in that way. But for me personally, there is no single human being on this planet Earth that is above criticism or below praise.
Yeah, and to be as well, like, it's about constructive criticism as well. The point is, we are constantly moving towards progress and improvement and, you know, bettering ourselves and the people around us through that embetterment. You know, we're evolving. That's the whole point. So if we all just accept things, if we all just yes men and women, we become stagnant, and that's kind of what we're living in. As you said, that binary, if you're either one camp or the other, you can't see the grey, which that is what everything actually is. It's not so one shade and the other shade and there's no middle. Like, if someone produces some great excellent work, which Stormzy has, an epic piece of work with his whole team, with his whole, you know, all of them, everyone involved, amazing. But if there's points in there that is like, why have you done that? It's got, like, we have to be able to say,
address it.
Yeah, like, we have to be able to address it.
And there were moments like that. There were moments where it was like, why is that? And let's go into it. So there's two particular moments, right? So the first moment.
Yeah, the first moment
is the N-word.
Yes.
The N-word, when Stormzy, prior to this moment, he did not use it once. Prior to that moment, he did not use it once. The Jonathan Wass basically asked him, was he thinking or how is he doing or whatever, and then Stormzy proceeded to go into the verse saying N-word this, N-word that, N-word this, and N-word that, and then he used it like 100 million times throughout the track from that point on. So the main issue for us two, as we discussed before, like off this camera, is why did you have to say it in front of the two Englishmen though?
Yeah.
Why do you have to say it in front of the two white men? Why? Why did you have to do that? Why? It's bad enough from our perspective as Pan-Africans. It's bad enough for that it's becoming normalized around our people, but to be saying it and saying it so frequently as well,
and the eye contact. So he looks to Dina, yeah, the sportswoman. He then looks to Louis Theroux. I need to know the line. Tell me. And he looks to Louis Theroux and he says the bit. And I'm like, the director, bruv, like, why didn't you... there's so many bits that you could have... Like, fine, you've done that whole section. That's great. There's so many bits that you could have done that where you had that kind of addressing to the people. We're having this conversation. It doesn't have to be... Or if you so-called have to have it in that situation, I don't believe that had to be done.
No, it didn't.
Why are you looking at Louis Theroux next to say the N-word? Like, I don't understand how that didn't...
No one was like, raise the flag.
To quote a famous influencer, that I'm just so discombobulated with that. Like, I'm discombobulated. Why would you do that? Like, and for Pan-Africans, yes, and for people who know their history, who don't necessarily call themselves Pan-Africans, but they just know the history and they're touched and reached by what that word till today means and how it's constantly used outside of the music industry by those who hate people that look like us, that look like Stormzy, that look like everybody in that Black Excellence video, who hate us, you know. That word to be used in that moment right there and in front of those two white Englishmen, yeah, by Stormzy, was like a stab. It's like a stab. It's like a stab in the back, stab in the throat, stab. Just like, why are you doing that? Why, Stormzy? Like, you just ruined everything. Like in two seconds. Like, what is that about? I till now, I just really want to talk to him. We've seen the brother. We've seen him at certain things. We saw him.
He was at Chris Cabba's protest the other day.
Saw it. He was there. We didn't see him there because we weren't there. For those who are watching this, who aren't aware, Chris Cabba was murdered by the police 2 weeks ago.
Also, yeah.
2 weeks or so ago, and around the same time, that woman who they say was our queen passed, and there was this crossover between people gathering, doing the whole Black Lives Matter movement, like huge crowds of people that they swathed together to say that they were on the procession to see.
Sky News did that.
Sky News had to apologise for doing that.
Foul behaviour.
But my point is that Stormzy went there. And the main point we're making right now is the fact that there are police officers who were part of that murder and that chase down of Chris Cabba who use that word, and they use it frequently. There are, not I think there are, I'm not going to say that, I know. The reason I know is because I'm a big woman. I've grown up in this world. I know what I'm living in. I'm living in a racist fucking world. Yeah, I'm living in a white supremacist. It's not. Extremist. You know, and we're seeing it the most obvious at this time. When we've reversed. Let's say we've reversed. You know, we grew up in this tolerant society and all this kind of stuff. It's just not there. So there's no space, Stormzy. There's literally no space for Stormzy to be using that N-word in front of two white Englishmen like that. And somewhat sort of trying to really give that certificate, that blue Peter badge to authorize, stamp almost that moment of like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine, we do this now. It's fine. So if you all want to shout out that bit, you know, like in Glastonbury, yeah, Glastonbury Part 2 or Coachella or whatever, all the white crowd, they're just going to be like, dun, 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 dun. And whatever. They're all going to be shouting that back to the stage. And it's all okay because guess what? I was sitting there in this interview, this phony interview There was here's our Black Pantheress, and there was Louis Theroux, who's what do you call it? Kind of what's it? His memes going around at the moment. His music, that rap that he does on TikTok or whatever. People use that as a sound.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, Louis Theroux is obviously a famous presenter. Okay, he goes around different parts of the world and like
to the rough areas.
To the mostly rough areas, but extreme things. Him and Stacey Dooley have got the same similar things. We're so dumb. We don't understand what's going on, and we just ask these questions. Louis Theroux.
I find him quite patronising when he's doing that. I don't even think he acts dumb. I think he's quite patronising, like when he's going into these rough areas and is picking apart people's lives.
Or when he went to the that extreme American prison. Why is he doing that? Like, you know, anyway, you got him. That's who he said it to, and it's like, what is that doing? What is the point? Because there is a point in every single video that you watch. Our point of Out of Noise is to educate, enlighten, to bring peace to the mic. So all these thoughts we can express them, and then others who are feeling the same and similar thoughts can talk about it too, or anyone that's feeling different thoughts can talk about it. This is the point. There's an intention with every single thing that you watch. The even more extreme programming, okay? If you don't understand about programming, when you watch anything on TV, any movie you watch, any film, there is an agenda, there is a point, there's an intention by the director, by those who had the producer who wanted this thing made, the director who's taken that vision from the producer and is going to do it in his vision, but it's to the direction of the intent of the producer. This is what we want to produce for the masses. This is the mindset we want the masses to hold. We want them in fear. We want them scared. We want them controlled. We want them happy. We want them celebrating wealth. We want them, whatever that is. So why, and every single frame by frame, this is why people go to film study school to study all of this stuff, because they understand frame by frame. Also in there is product placement, which is another subject we're going to bring up in a minute. Product placement. We want this in the shop. We're trying to sell it. We want the masses to want one each. We want that bit where they're sat on the couch and it's like a moment like that. What is going on there? What is the point of using the N-word from there to the end? It's a curse. It is a bloody curse. That word was a lot of African people's final word that they heard before they were killed, murdered. Okay, so I don't agree with anyone using it. I don't agree with when Jay-Z talked to Oprah and tried to okay it. It doesn't rest with my soul. My ancestors are angry. It just irks me in that way, because it's still used for its original intent by the creators of that word, because it's that. It irks me. I know, like, people would explain to us, we've had these debates. We've had it with Stella, Lauryn Hill's daughter. We had this discussion with her. We've had it with many people. Who else we've talked about it to? Yeah,
like there's loads of people that we've spoken to about it. And look, the bottom line is that we ain't reclaimed that word.
We haven't.
People like to wax lyrical and because basically the streets is cool, innit? The streets is cool and everyone want to be street. That's the truth. Like, if we're talking the truth, then it's just that we want to be cool. And really and truly is the African American brothers and sisters that basically, through the means of hip hop, the word has been popularized and we've been influenced by it here, because basically our parents' generation was not using that word. That's not that long ago.
No.
Our parents' generation was not throwing that word around, bouncing at each other and as we are now. And so we got to accept that basically street culture has become the predominant coolness or cool factor that we want to be a part of. Therefore, that's why we want to use the word.
Why.
But we have not reclaimed the word.
No.
Gay, for example, that word has been claimed. And I mean that to say that if you use gay in the way of its old context, it has no meaning of its old context. You use the word gay, it applies to its meaning of what it is today. So its old meaning means nothing today what it means today is what it means today. The N-word does still, if a white person or any other person really, a person that is not black, a person who's not of African descent, uses that word in its old context, it still means that in its old context. We still receive it as its old context. So then there's a thing of like who can say and who cannot say it. Oh, it's this term of endearment. It's not even a term of endearment either. It's a replacement word for a black person. So if you even want to go to the streets and say, yeah, it's used or it's for really a black male, that's what it really defines. Even if you're using it in street terminology, yes, it could be used to say these are my people who I'm rolling with, but it's also used in Stormzy himself in that song. There are a few occasions where he's using it in a way that you would not use to describe your friends and your brethren, right? So when you're challenging people, you're saying they're not good enough for you or you're better than them. That's not how you talk about your friends. That is not a term in that context. It's not used as a term of endearment. And outside of that song, there are several, countless songs where there's an advocating of killing N-words by brothers on the track or even sisters. Like there's of murder. That's not a term of endearment. So we've not reclaimed the word. We're using it because it makes us feel cool. And when you actually break it down and you're talking from a spiritual aspect, which what Stella is saying, I'm talking from my ancestors. And I want to shout out London Open TV because he actually posted this first and highlighted this because it is an issue. It is an issue. And what the best case scenario from that moment is that it's being normalized, and it's being normalized to the extent whereby it's normal to say wantonly in front of white people.
Essentially,
and I'm not going to go as far as to say that if Jonathan Wass or Louis Theroux turned around and said it's a Stormzy, whether Stormzy would be like cool, bless. I hope not.
Well, no.
But the fact is that it's normalized.
Yeah, that's the point. Around them. And the thing is...
And it's not normal.
No, it's not normal. It's really
abnormal. No other people are doing that. No other people are slurring themselves in front of other people.
Okay, listen. If you didn't know that white people talk about you black people behind your back, did you not know that? Yeah? Just like how black people can talk about white people behind their backs. Yeah?
Everyone talk about everybody.
Everyone talk about everybody in a derogatory way, in a cussing way. And you know those said so white people, they also use that word. And guess what? They're not using it in no kind of, my comrade. Like, it's not that, bruv. Like, I don't care how relaxed and affiliated you are with and cushiony it makes you feel because it's married up with some beats. It's resonating with something, a part of you, the most debased part of you. Let's talk, is it cymatics? Yeah, let's talk about sound waves. Let's talk about all of that. What does that word do on that level spiritually? Is it uplifting you? Because I really doubt that. Is it uplifting the soul? Is it like, no, but do you understand that you can be cozy? You can be cozy in your negativity. Do you know that? Did you actually clock that in about yourself, that you can actually be very relaxed and happy and content in your negativity, in the things that don't enrich you.
Cool.
You feel cool, you feel bad, you feel amazing like that, but it's like a trick for yourself that's going on there. Let me pause it. Yeah, so people can be very cozy in a negativity, in a negative space. Their soul can rest with something and really be like chilled with stuff that's not good for them.
Well, clearly, yeah, and we all can fall into that. Like we can all fall into, so we all can relate with what Stella's saying right now. So yeah, the N-word, like when you're talking about black excellence, there's no place for that. There's no place for it. You can't put the N-word alongside black excellence. It makes no sense. Mm-mm. Yeah, and also we are beyond the streets. I want to really make that clear. Like we are beyond the streets. We don't come from this obsession with the streets. We don't come from the streets. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms of where you from, the streets. No, we're beyond that. We're the original people. Know who you are. We're the original people. we're here first. This is why it's important to know your history, because if you know your history, then it centers your position in the world of who you actually are. We are in a down period right now as a whole. You can say that, but where you're from is this ownership of the gutter, the ownership of the ghetto. No. We're beyond that. And we have to, when we're talking about black excellence, it's got to be, it doesn't matter where your personal beginnings are, right? But that doesn't define who you are, and you don't have to be real to that.
No.
You don't have to be real to that. Be real to you as a spiritual being living in a human physical experience. Be real to that. Be real to the fact that there's no one on this earth that is better than you.
Exactly.
Be real to that, but don't be real to gutter.
Don't be real to the base nature of the streets, the grime.
Don't be real to that.
Yeah, it's like ownership of, like, basically even when you're opulent and you're up there, you still want to claim like the corners of the streets. But actually, let's break down the streets. Like, what does it actually mean? You know, it means, okay, let's talk about UK. Let's talk about UK grime living. We've all been there. Like, grew up in Brixton. I've seen a lot in my time as well. It's just,
it's nothing to glorify.
It's not.
Nothing to glorify.
It's a fearful space for young people. Like, when I was young, I remember being in fearful environments. Now we know what fear does. All it does is like cause illness in the body. All it does is it makes you have paranoia for your the people around you. Like, you don't trust no one. If it's an extreme version of fear, you're stuck at home, you don't want to go out, you don't want to see anyone. Or what's happening today is you're having more and more young people carry weapons to protect themselves, so-called, for fear. Fear is what we're talking about with the street praise, is promoting and supporting a system of fear among our young people, essentially. And that's what that kind of glorification of the streets continues to do. It continues to allow that space. It continues to allow that space where fear can thrive, essentially, where young people don't feel. Just quick story. We went down the road one day. We went down the road to get some food from the shops or whatnot, and we saw these young kids, no older than about 9, 10. Yeah, I'm saying young. People, the sad thing is, a lot of people will be like, yeah, man, I know young people that are, you know, carrying things and doing at young. And there was a hype thing going on around them. Long story short, this young girl was there as well, and she was the quote unquote Lauryn Hill of the pack, right? She was the young gifted mindful soul who was talking this other kid out of
children,
going for someone else with a knife, essentially. So me and Nat are like, what, you know, we interrupt the conversation, we come over, like, trying to inspect what's going on. They're all in this hype kind of mode, and you know the energy. We've all been there. We know that street energy. Yeah, we understand it. And then, you know, it's such a long time ago, so I believe the kids went off anyway.
The children. I really want it because it's
my
important.
bad.
The children.
The children. I can't remember what happened in the end, but yeah.
Basically, from my memory, the girl was basically telling them that she would take it off them or something like that, and just trying to encourage them not to move in that way.
Yeah,
that was what they were.
And we felt confident enough to leave them in the end. That they're not going to do anything, and it was like we told them to go home and stuff like that. And another woman came along, another big woman who seemed to know them. So, but that's the consequences. Now, people, this is another debate that we can talk about on another discussion with ourselves on Out of Noise, and we're going to invite loads of different people to come and join us, and we're going to be doing lives and stuff like that as well. But, you know, people argue about, I brought up cymatics, okay, I brought up the sound waves and all of those things earlier, and people argue with you, no, the N-word doesn't mean anything, it's just our thing, or blah blah blah. The street, this is just our reality, and we're just reflecting that. And but what's happened is it's commodified highly. Yeah, it's a form of music that's highly commodified. There's lots of business, man, going on within that industry, from penning to all the way to prison. Okay, because we can't deny the pipeline. We cannot deny the pipeline.
It's all interlinked.
It's
and like basically, with regards to what you're saying about the impact on the streets and the young people, this has been going on for a long time now. So, like we say, Brixton. When I was growing up in Brixton, the young people on a madness, and then maybe when I was doing youth work in Brixton and I see the young people there, they were even crazier. And now I bump into one of those young crazy brothers that has grown up to be a responsible young man, and he's saying that the young people now are even crazier than he was. So, or his generation, or his age group. And so it's been a long period of time now where it's like a culture of destruction. And this is what we're essentially talking about. We're talking about, look, just because we make magic out of a madness, it doesn't mean that we glorify the madness. And that is what the music does, and that is what the glorification of the N-word, which is so intrinsically attached to that, glorifies. It glorifies madness. We're not glorifying the madness. We can glorify the magic, and the magic that we have is amazing. But the situation that we find ourselves in is not of our own creation. It's by design. And this is what we have to break down and listen to and actually get to the bottom of. And this is what we're addressing. Yeah. So when it comes to the N-word, we're saying we ain't reclaimed it, and we're saying it should not be normalised, nor should it be glorified. And to expand it even further, we're saying that the streets should not be glorified in any way, shape or form. But that doesn't take away the magic that we make from being on the streets. The magic we make out of the muckle.
Exactly. And just to jump on your point there, that's really key. We can make magic out of the mud, yeah. We can, and yes, when you crush the diamonds, crush the dirt, the coal, the diamonds will emerge. Yeah, that's facts. But guess what? Outside of deficit, if you're still living in opulence, true freedom, guess where else we can go? Like, literally, I'm talking serious B. I'm talking about intergalactic. Like, that is what the limitations are doing. So yes, we're creating all this magic, but it's not real magic. It's not real magic. It's stuff that is temporary satisfaction for the soul that is constantly seeking that place that we are supposed to be getting to. So imagine with the freedom, with the untethering to the streets and to all these other ideas of dreams that were sold about who we're supposed to be, where the potential lies, the freedom of that. Like, wow, like, it's just unreal, the endless possibilities that could emerge from the brain of someone who's completely free of all that bullshit. The closest we can talk about getting there, nearly getting there in this lifetime is maybe Labyrinth. I'm just
Stella, love enough Labyrinth right now. But I don't blame
or a Kanye or them type of people.
Kanye.
He's not streets. He's not. He's been free from that.
Yeah, but yeah, our imagination can. So basically, we don't need. I don't think we need examples. This is basically in your own life. You can think about this beyond the
okay, the ancient times.
Yeah, okay.
Ancient times. Let's talk about the ancient times.
Yeah.
Ancient chemists.
The glory days.
Yeah, the golden age.
The glory golden age.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we're from.
Yeah,
we miss it. We want to go back.
I don't know how we ended up here.
I don't know.
We're here to fix it.
We're here to fix it. We're here to enlighten the people.
Yes, so that's our first major gripe, and we have spent time on it because it deserves that time. The second gripe, okay, so basically, how are we defining black excellence? Like that's the real question. How are we actually defining black excellence? Because how things have been positioned, and you can say the world has been influenced by it, is that it's through a European lens, right? So excellence is presented to us through a European lens. We aspire to excellence from a European lens. So what we've been taught about what excellence is from the European, right? So when we level up, we're leveling up in ways that match the European. So one of the things that was clearly an endorsement was at the end you had, or at the last part of the video where everyone's in white, Stormzy with the Prada.
Yeah.
That was very clear.
Yeah.
And Prada is not black owned. Prada is Italian owned. Prada is actually the name of an Italian family. That family owns the designer, what do you call it? The high class label, or the premium label.
The fashion house.
The fashion house. That is was it high design? What do you describe? It's not street. What do you call it? It's high fashion. High fashion
label.
High fashion
brand.
label. Yeah, that's what it is. So when we're saying about black excellence, how are we demonstrating black excellence? By wearing somebody else's brand that is not black. And then worse than that is that it was only 4 years ago that Prada offended the black community with their little key ring that basically resembled a gollywog. So they responded when there was the reaction. They responded. They took it all down, but they fell short of an apology. And then the actual Prada, as in the woman who holds the name, who's the CEO, the owner, she actually basically was like, it's very difficult because you can offend everybody, and she can't go through and understand the cultures of various different people. And you have to understand, look, we are not the primary target market for Prada. Black people, rich, wealthy black people are not the primary target market for Prada. They have their primary target market. I don't even know where we even rank. So the ability to offend a community and then fall short of a full apology shows where we are at in terms of their priority to please us or not. So they can say we're not racist. We abhor racism of all forms and all that kind of stuff. They can say that to save their image and their PR, but it does not mean that they hold us in high regard.
No.
But clearly that is a signifier, of us leveling up, and that's problematic.
That's really highly problematic, because that is an opportunity there to show a big fashion brand that's African, that's Ghanaian. Like, show a fashion house that's Ghanaian, like in the bit where everyone's wearing the whites and they've got the white umbrellas and everything like that. Show it in that bit. That's just an idea for you. Like, why don't you do that? Or do Black Pound Day's signature there. You're still mentioning the pound.
That would have been so powerful.
Which is like going down. But yeah, it's still there. And, like, or what we said was what you've just addressed, which is that they're not apologizing because, we can't say, we don't know what gollywogs mean there, but here it's just nothing. It's like bullshit. But again, another reason why we must always know history and understand these people, how they operate. But like, if what we did say is like, okay, if he had that moment, it's endorsement, right? It's a blatant endorsement, yeah? So obviously a fact check came for that moment. He's not just going to wear the thing, okay? So whatever that amount is, maybe it paid for Jose's little cameo, or, whoever, like, if that in the negotiations could have been discussed in the back rooms and say, look, what we want from you, because we're now we want to bring black people and make it okay again for you, for the black people to spend their money on your brand again, like, okay, because yeah, they rank low in their opinions, but black people, a lot of our people love to spend in Gucci store, in whatever, and that again is promoted by our hip hop world. It's promoted heavily, you know, that whole kind of wearing brands. So why not negotiate? Okay, look, we need you to officially apologize for what you did. We need a different kind of apology, and we need you to state it alongside this video coming out, or just before, or just after, because it's about a balance thing. We're going to be bringing you all this new business. Me as Stormzy wearing this top is going to make a lot of people want to wear this top, and that's going to be financially great for you. Also, it's kind of nullifying that past for you, or helping you remove that disgusting racist stain that's upon your brand right now. What about the balance of showing that you do apologize for it, and you know you really mean it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like some sort of negotiation, because we know as artists how hard it is in terms of financially. There is there's certain brands that you may need to work with brands. And then it's like, okay, now the soul has to wrestle with that, because it's like the money is going to help get your vision out there from those said brands. But if you look into a lot of brands, you know,
it make you sick.
It make you be like torturing your soul, like whether or not to do it. But it's because you want to reach a
well,
big,
yeah,
a wider
if you know
audience.
If you know about it,
when you're aware,
if you're aware,
like the Prada thing. The reason why Nat is bring this up, not only because it's disgusting, if we saw the Prada thing and there wasn't that Gollywog incident, it's not an issue like that. It would be an issue more of like, oh man, like that, like, oh, I wish he could have used a black owned brand, like that kind of melancholy, like, yeah. But it wouldn't be as deeply felt as it is.
No, it's still deep.
Because
like, it's still deep to me, because like it makes it worse that it's
that they did the Gollywog.
Yeah, it makes it worse that they got like a very recent racist incident that we have pretty much all forgotten about.
Yeah, clearly
a lot has happened in that time, but still we've got short memories. It's true. We have got short memories, but it is like basically black excellence. So even if Prada didn't have nothing, right, they had a clean slate. It's what does black excellence equal? Black excellence cannot equal being branded by somebody else. That doesn't equate with black excellence. That means we're underneath. And I'll put it this way. Can you imagine an Italian doing something about Italian greatness, Italian excellence, and then they're wearing a Ghanaian top? Does that happen? Would that ever happen? Would the flip side happen?
No.
Or any other people, in fact, where they're celebrating their excellence, and then you're seeing them wearing something from Congo. Can we actually see that? Because if we can't see that, then you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
it's a dynamic.
It's a dynamic issue, and that is why it regardless, it is deep to me because of what it means. And this is the thing with us, with us, the wealthy amongst us, the materially wealthy specifically, the materially wealthy amongst us, and it's not even a blame thing like that. It's just it kind of is what it is, but the truth must be spoken regardless, right? We're in a system that basically still today exalts groups above us. And so when we're leveling up towards that, right? Even something as simple as it's something very understandable. Again, if you are from the hood, if you are from the ghetto, if you are from the streets, more time when you get money, you leave there, right? Common sense. You don't want to be a target. You get it, right? And not only that you don't want to get a target, you want to level up. You want to live in a big house. You want to live in luxury. You want to live in abundance. You want to live in abundance. You don't want to be in no cramped up flat with millions. Who wants that? Even if you weren't going to be attacked, you wouldn't want to live like that. But those areas not even tend, those areas are white. They're white. So the system has it set up in that kind of way. So you can't really blame people for that. But what I'm talking about is that when we're actually addressing black excellence, then please let it just be black 360.
Yeah, that would have been heavenly.
And even if, look, we haven't got a high fashion, if I'm to be real, we haven't got a high fashion house on the level of Prada. We don't. But it's that sense of pride in something that was created by black people or black person or African person or African people. That is what makes it excellent. And trust me, there are many fashion designers who are incredible at what they do, and they could actually do with that light. So for me, when we're talking, if it is simply about black excellence, if that's what we're talking about, then and we're aligning it with the poem and such, then I'd rather not have the Prada. Maybe it means that Jose can't be in a video, but it's okay. It's black excellence. Maybe Jose can be in a different video where and it makes more sense for Prada to be there. Maybe a collaboration with Ed Sheeran or whoever. Then you can have Jose doing this. But when they talk about black excellence, why don't we make it black excellence 360 degrees?
Definitely, I completely concur. And basically on that note, we've been talking for over an hour on the Stormzy video, but we're going to be doing a lot more of these out of noise podcasty discussions where we bring our piece to the mic, and some of them will include some poetry, some of them some performances, because that is us is in a full 360. So it's an opportunity for you to get to know us better, and to also bring your piece to the mic, because we want to hear your comments, want to hear what you think about what was said. We want you to follow, like and subscribe below, and we want you to follow us on all our social media handles as well, which we'll put in the details below.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. We've been your hosts. This is
Nat Nai.
And I am Stella B. And we'll see you next time. Out of Noise.